That was 5 years ago, and you're talking about something that happened half a decade ago.
Mate, but no, they're not. Because it's based on some mad system.
Hello, welcome to Hold the L. My name is Flav, and this is the brand new football debate show on the Super 6 YouTube channel. Now, as you know, through the European group stages, Super 6 have been running the Euros jackpot, with the prize rolling over to £300,000. Now, unfortunately, unbelievably, no one won it. Rolled over 3 times, £300,000 on the line, and no one won it, despite the fact that 500,000 people entered it. Don't worry, there's more chance to win money with the Super 6 Extra, which is offering you a chance to win £5,000 by answering 6 questions correctly on specific matches. They're running it for Wales versus Denmark and England versus Germany. So make sure you get involved. Once again, it's free. You can win yourself £5,000. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Euro 2020 bracket, picking a winner and plotting their route through to the final. On the show today, we're joined by Pajak, Akeem and Stephen McInerney. Let's see what the boys have to say.
England do beat Germany, of course they do. Then they obviously get past Ukraine and they get to the Netherlands. But unfortunately, no, they did get through on penalties actually against the Netherlands. Obviously, everyone talks about Gareth Southgate and penalties, and it's triumphant. But on the other side, Italy have already vanquished Belgium. They've already vanquished France as well. And I'm sorry, but Roberto Mancini, his tide is just another level. I'm going to be devastated, but I've got down Italy to win it for a reason. I think they're too classy, too organised, and they're going to win the Euros. But everyone will love England for it anyway, because we got to the final and football nearly came home. So, you know.
So Italy absolutely abolish a dysfunctional Austria side. They then face Portugal, who stig a win over Belgium and put one of the favourites out. Italy then play France and are at their absolutely scintillating best as they slay Mbappe and co. And then they face England in the final, and England goes to penalties in the final of the Euros in England, and are beaten on pens by the Italians. It's absolute heartbreak for Southgate and his men.
Right, as you know, I'm going for Belgium. The Belgium-Portugal tie is going to be the tie of the tournament. I'm calling it now. But they are going to win, and they are going to cleanly go through. And then the Italy game is going to be a tight one. They're going to go through on penalties just about. And then you've got France, who in the semi-finals is anyone's game. But Belgium's going to finally come up trumps all the way to the final, that they're going to play Netherlands, who just knocked out England, once again falling short just before the last hurdle, where they're going to win 2-1. That's it. Euros are coming to Belgium.
So my winner is going to be England, naturally. We're going to play Germany. We're going to beat Germany. We're going to Ukraine in the next round. We're going to obviously beat Ukraine. Then we're going to face Netherlands in the semi-final. Netherlands are a bit of a myth for me. I think we have no problem beating them. And on the other side, we will face France in the final, and it'll be a close 1-0 win for victory for England. Okay, so now we're going to try and get through the bracket as a team. We're going to collectively come together, right? Because there's already been some different ideas about who's going to win this. Can we as a team predict the bracket as it stands currently and come up with a unified winner? And the 4 of us together would probably get closer than just the opinions of one of us. So we're going to start with Belgium versus Portugal. Who'd you like for that, boys? Pajak, let us know who'd you like for that.
I think Belgium are probably have a higher ceiling as a side. I think, they've got an informed Lukaku, they've got Kevin De Bruyne, they've got some great players. But I just fancy the experience of the Portuguese to just bore the game to death. I just think that that's what they're going to do. That I think we've seen that they're sort of battle-hardened in a way, because they've come through the toughest group in the Euros. And Belgium, I just think, yes, they're a good side. Yes, they play some nice football and stuff like that. And they've got a great tactical plan. But Portugal, with that experience and with Cristiano Ronaldo banging in penalties for fun, I mean, he's literally got 3 penalties so far. It doesn't surprise me if they go through after a penalty from Ronaldo.
I want to just disagree a little bit there. I think from the perspective of like what Chris is saying, he just summed up the penalties and brought up penalties. Look, Ronaldo has actually saved Portugal to some extent over the last couple of games, and quite frankly, they were not good enough to even beat Hungary 3-0. That was not a fair value win. And to be honest, out of the big sides this tournament, they've been probably one of the poorest. They did scrape through, but I think Belgium, look, they're too good. They've proven that they were the best in the world. prior to this tournament.
When have they proven that, though, Akeem? When have they proven it? When have they won a big trophy? Portugal have literally the champions by being one of the worst sides in the Euros and barely winning a game until the final.
Chris, the facts have proven that, and that's because they're number one in the world rankings, just like Flav knew I was going to say. So factually, they are the best in the world, aren't they?
But no, they're not. Because it's based on some crackpot has decided that this is how you rank teams. They've been the best team in the world in the FIFA rankings for absolutely ages. They've never won a World Cup. They've never won a Euros. Therefore, for me, they're not the best team in the world. The number one golfer in the world hasn't won a major. It's just the way that things go, mate. I mean, you can be ranked number one, but you've got to prove it. These Euros and these World Cups are where you get to prove if you're the best in the world. Belgium haven't done that yet. Portugal are the reigning champions, the defending champions, and they played exactly the same way as they did last time.
Chris, let me ask you a question.
Chris,
let me ask you a question. Chris, let me ask you a question. How many years ago was Euro 2016? I can't remember. 5. Oh, okay. So that was 5 years ago. Yeah. And you're talking about something that happened half a decade ago. Portugal won it 5 years ago. Yeah. Belgium right now are the best in the world.
Let me ask you a question, Akeem. How many Champions League winners are in the Belgium squad?
It doesn't matter. It's not important.
You've had a week to think of an answer. You've had a week to think of the answer.
There's a few Champions League players. There's a few Champions League players in the squad. There's a few Champions League players who's played in Champions League finals as well.
Simon Mignolet is one of them. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
But look. Don't try and dress it up, Chris. The fact is, they are number one in the world. They're number one in the world for a reason. You know it. You love it. Belgium are going through. They're the best in the world.
We've got so many ties to get through, so I'm gonna have to stop you there. But what I would say is that how can Belgium win this tournament or even get past Portugal with Toby Alderweireld and Vertonghen as two of their back three? They're too old, and I feel like
Kevin De Bruyne. It's Kevin De Bruyne. As simple as that. He's the best player in the tournament.
How are we going to get through? How are we going to decide then? So we're going to have to vote, right? Who's going through here? Belgium or Portugal? I vote Portugal.
I vote Belgium.
Portugal. You're
Belgium.
both voting.
Belgium. Flav, you're betting against your two famous men.
Well, I know their frailties, and I know how old they are, and long in the tooth, and I know how good
is this a producer split? Like, is that what we're at?
It looks like it. Flav, the only way to decide it by
rock, paper, scissors
is ranked higher. The team that's ranked higher goes through. Simple.
Okay, what about if we decide it on like a team that's actually won a Euros before?
No, you can't, Chris. You can't.
I'm happy to concede. I'm happy to concede Belgium because they're not getting through after that anyway. Just going to put it out there, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay. So we're letting Portugal go through, right?
Yeah,
we're letting them. I mean, I still think.
Hold on. You're letting Portugal go through a side that is relied on counterattacks, relied on penalties, just about beat Hungary, but for some reason, people who didn't watch the game said, "Oh, Portugal won 3-0."
Look, I'm doing it because they're getting on the bus side of the way.
It was a terrible performance. It was a terrible performance. They scraped through. They got battered by Germany. They shouldn't have lost 6-1.
All right.
7-1.
Look, Akeem, for the record. For the record.
No.
I think Belgium going through, but I've got stuff to do today. So, like I'm saying, Portugal can go through for now, but they're going home a few days later anyway. So,
Akeem, for his passion,
yeah,
I'll let Belgium go through in this instance. But it doesn't really matter, does it? Italy versus Austria. We can all agree
Austria,
that Italy are going to walking through them.
Italy will go.
Yeah.
Yeah. France. Versus
Whoa!
Please,
Austria.
Please don't.
No, I'm kidding.
Please don't say Shaqiri. France versus Switzerland. France are going to get through there. And is there any chance that Croatia can cause an upset against Spain? Spain, the most boring team in the competition, bar none.
Just won 5-0 there for what it's worth.
They weren't boring the other week.
No, they
were a few days ago.
I think they may be warming into it a little bit, but I think Croatia have been pretty boring as well, to be fair. So, but I mean, the Croatia haven't really set anything the world alight, I would argue. But
agree with Spain then, yeah?
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it's close, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah.
Actually, but I do have Spain going through.
Yeah.
I just think Croatia look more tired. They look more leggy. So
all right, so let's continue this side of the bracket. Then we've got Belgium controversially going through, and they're going to play Italy. That isn't like whether it was Portugal or Italy. Belgium versus or Portugal versus Italy is a huge game, one of the biggest of the tournament. in any round. So how would you see that playing out, Pajak?
Well, I think we know where.
Belgium.
I think we know who I think's going to go through. Honestly, I think Italy. I think this has the potential. If Belgium go to face Italy, has the potential to be a very good game of football.
Oh, insanely good, I reckon.
Yeah, I think
shootout.
For me, Italy are the best side in it at the moment. I think they've not quite been tested in the way that some of the other teams have. I mean, if Belgium come through against Portugal, then they'll have been tested in a much more way than Italy, who've breezed through the group stages, beaten Austria side that's not very good, quite frankly, and a bit crap. So it'll be Italy's first big game, but with Immobile up front, with the players that they've got, the world-class manager that they've got in Mancini, and a world-class defence, I think it's very difficult for Belgium to score against Italy. I mean, they just hardly can see the goal, do they?
Lukaku does know them.
Yeah.
Well, he does know, obviously. Lukaku knows the Italian defenders because he literally played there and been incredible in Serie A. So there is that element. And obviously, once again, if you've got De Bruyne, I'm not just saying it because I'm a City fan, you genuinely got a chance because you can just drop a world-class pass like that. So I think it'll be a cracking game, by the way. I think it's one of those games where it's going to be like 3-2 to probably Italy, if I'm being honest, but it's going to be end-to-end. Everything will kind of just, all kind of sensibilities will just leave. Everyone will be a little bit crazy and there'll be goals and chances and we'll love it. We'll absolutely love it, but I can't see past Italy. I think they're just too confident within who they are as a side, personally.
Yeah, I just wanted to say quickly, I think Italy's definitely the most well-rounded side. They got one of my favourite players in Europe, Chiesa. I think it's all going to come down to momentum, though, and like what Chris said, kind of who's played at a high level, who's played against a very, very strong side and prepared for a game like this at this level. And I do think for that reason, Belgium probably would just have the edge potentially, but obviously it's going to be a tight one. But I'm going to go with Belgium confidently.
You're going to go with Belgium, but I think the three of us have picked Italy to go through. So unfortunately, Belgium go out at this stage. We've got Italy going through there to the semi-finals, and who will they be playing, Stephen? France, or will they be playing Spain?
France, to be honest. They're just the killers compared to they've got the world-class players in good form. Kante obviously is always really, really crucial in these kind of games, and Pogba is absolutely banging form, and this is coming from a City fan once again. He is in form, and obviously you've got Mbappe. Spain feel very much like they're very much a watered-down version of the classic Spain sides, and they're a good side, don't get me wrong. They've got quality players that walk into a lot of teams, but they're not quite, I don't think they're quite who they're going to be yet as an actual side, and they feel like they'll be better in 2-4 years from now or whatever. But for me, it's France. They have won as much as they've won for a reason because they're a world class side. So it's France for me.
Yeah, it's a shame that when the weakest part of France's team is Benzema. It's crazy. Like, it's mad.
Benzema's quality. Like I don't get that Benzema thing. Yeah,
if you want to pick holes in that team, you'd say maybe a number 9. You could find a better one. But I'd start for England now. Sorry, Flav. I'd start Benzema for England.
He's one of the best in the world.
Yes, I would.
He's one of the best in the world.
He's so underrated by people. I mean, you do not stay at Real Madrid for a decade.
No.
As the centre forward if you're not
Stephen
good.
just said he would start Benzema ahead of Kane for Spurs.
Right now, yeah, I would. He'd suit this team better, the England team. Kane looks a little bit lost in this England team.
Benzema's one of the most underrated players. He doesn't get, especially during the time that Ronaldo was there, he just never got the respect.
Would I be holding the L now if we
should be holding the L? On that alone, you should hold the L.
He's absolutely.
Well, there is luckily, there's no L to be held this week, so don't worry about it. France and Spain. So we're saying all of us agree that France is, Spain are always going to be a giant, but France are getting through. Okay, so the semi-final before we move on to the other side of the bracket will be Italy versus France. What a game that would be if that got through. That could go down as one of the greatest on paper in Euro history, right?
Yeah.
Big game.
I mean, I've written Italy, but I'm not even 100% sure about that. And once again, in semi-finals, there's so much emotion attached to it. France have the experience, of course, in recent history in these kind of situations. I've written Italy down. I'm going to stick with it, but this is not a confident.
As good as Italy have been, we've only really found, and they had a great qualifying run as well, but it doesn't count as much. But they've brought it into the championship, and that is impressive. But it's still a relatively new way of playing, and France have an incredible system and incredible players. Will that prove too much, do you think, Pajak?
I'm not sure. I think France are getting by on individual quality rather than their system, to be honest, at the moment. I think, Pogba, as mentioned by Steve before, the way he's picking out a pass at the moment, the freedom with which he's playing, he looks like Paul Pogba, who, should be performing as one of the best players in the Premier League every week and maybe doesn't quite hit those heights. But with Mbappe, any team that's going to step up is going to get hurt with Mbappe and Benzema being able to hold that ball up and pop it off and stuff like that. They look like a good counter-attacking side, and I think because of that, for me, France can beat anyone on their day. But I think Italy are just slightly more well-rounded, probably a little bit more versed in the dark arts of international football, even though I know France are the world champions and stuff like that. So I like this Italy side. I think they can go and do something special. But it wouldn't surprise me if France beat them. And it wouldn't surprise me if France beat them handsomely, because I think with Mbappe in the side, they could score 3 before you know it. You know what I mean?
And I just wanted to say that there's a player that we haven't mentioned today, and that's Griezmann, the amount of work he does for that team as well. Especially going back, I feel they will be heavily exposed if someone like him doesn't play. In terms of balance and how well-rounded Italy is in comparison, there is no comparison. But like Chris said, when it comes down to individual brilliance or kind of just managing games a little bit better, you could say France probably might have the edge.
Also, you've got to think like Pogba always plays really well on international level, and he's surrounded by players of that equal his quality, rather than being a very big fish in a small pond at United. I can see.
You're talking about Harry Kane, Flav? Who are you talking about?
Sorry, that didn't make any sense. I'm sorry. He's surrounded by.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry, keep it. France.
Oh, bless you, man.
We can agree that that even though it would be a tight game, we can all agree to get a collective decision here that France beat Italy to go through to the finals. Is that fair? Can we agree here?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough one.
Well, if we put it down to a vote, I'm saying Italy.
Okay,
yeah,
Stephen, what do you say?
I've Italy to win it, man. So
what
you know what? In a game like that, I would actually say Italy would just about win. Just
okay. We'll put Italy through. I would have said France, but I'm happy with that. Yeah. So Italy through to the Euro 2020 final, and on the other side of the bracket, we'll start with Sweden versus Ukraine. Not the most exciting thing to think about on paper, but Ukraine have been a really exciting sort of go-get-em team under Shevchenko. I really enjoyed watching them play. Hey,
the crap.
Well, yeah.
They literally didn't they beat North Macedonia to go through, and that's it.
Yeah, I think
in the way they're playing, they're exciting to watch. I'm not necessarily going to go on and do anything in this championship, although I do think they'll get past Sweden.
They just beat North Macedonia. That's all they did to get through. I mean, it's hardly riveting, is it? Like, let's be honest. We could beat North Macedonia with the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
And then we're playing Sweden. Would you think we're going to beat them?
So what? Everyone was banging on about how exciting Leeds were last year when they were getting thumped. Like that's the same thing. Ukraine were playing.
Do you know what it is?
Decent football. They are getting beat, but they are playing decent football, and they're going through against Sweden.
No, Flav, I think there's a lot of respect that's not ever given to teams like Sweden when they lose the star man that everyone loves and knows. And actually, they're a better side without Zlatan over the last year.
Slide down with the whole love thing. Not everyone loves Zlatan. Just put it out there for what it's worth.
I'm going to put it out there. I don't love him either.
Yeah, I think he's awful.
Okay.
Truly awful.
I think he's a bit of a match.
Despicable.
Yeah.
Wow. Three. There's 3 of you. But yeah, look. Anyway, long story short, Sweden deserves a lot more respect, and they're a far better side than Ukraine. You know, so yeah, Sweden.
All right, look at all this.
For what it's worth, I thought Sweden were really,
smugness.
really boring as well. I mean, they'll probably. I've got Ukraine just for Zinchenko because I'm repping my guy there. So yeah, but I'm not really bothered who goes through in this game because I think they're both going out in the next round anyway. So this is going to come back. This is going to be thrown in my face, isn't it? One day, I can feel it already. But I put Ukraine down, but I'm not bothered if you guys won't go for Sweden.
I've put Ukraine as well, and I'm right, and I know I'm right, and that's why Ukraine are going through. Sweden have one player, Isaac, and he's a child.
Well, after the North Macedonia win, you're that.
They're going to be buoyed by that, and they're going to march on.
Good job they didn't get South Macedonia, isn't it, man? Like, they wouldn't have had a chance otherwise.
Let's move.
Is that you, Matteo?
Do you know what? I think there's a massive disrespect done to Sweden here. I think Sweden are probably maybe the ninth I don't think they're too much worse than Spain, to be honest with you, Sweden. I think there's loads worse teams in this draw than Sweden.
Definitely. Agree.
One of them
I
is
didn't
in
enjoy
Ukraine.
any of their games. That's what I will say. I genuinely didn't. I thought they were really boring. Really boring.
Is anyone going to fight me?
They've got absolute beast at centre back as well. Who plays for a very well known team.
Actually, Sweden topped Spain's group. You know that, right?
I still thought they were boring.
Okay, Spain are boring, but we predicted them to
Spain are
to
Spain, though, aren't they?
Croatia.
Spain started slowly.
You're fit. All right, so we're going to put Sweden through to the next round then.
I think if
you're right,
close,
Sweden.
I'm only picking Ukraine because I enjoyed the couple of games I watched when they played, but Sweden perhaps. All right, we'll put Sweden through.
Put Sweden
you
through.
Agree? All right, okay. So the next one, the big one, England
Can't believe I
versus
went
Germany.
to bat for Sweden, lad.
I know, man. As
well.
What am I even doing?
You drew a line in the sand, didn't you? It's like, no, Sweden are going through. England,
Just all that IKEA
versus,
furniture, man.
England versus Germany. I was surprised to see that all of us put England going through, and I think for three of us it's a bit patriotic, obviously less so for Pajak, but. Do you think
literally
and that's what she's literally wearing a Scottish shirt.
Yeah, I was supporting Andy Robbo, mate.
Yeah, but Pedro, what if you don't? Why do you think England will get past Germany here? Because Germany,
I just think they're a better side.
Either.
Like I might not like I've watched the England games. I might not be like a full emotional supporter, but I love football. I love watching football.
Yeah.
So and I'm looking at it, and I don't want England to fail. Like I just don't feel those emotions that I feel when I watch Liverpool.
No, that's fair enough. And that makes your position better
you
off.
can't fake that.
To us.
You know what I mean? It's not like some stand that I'm having or anything. I've enjoyed watching England. And I think England are a better side than Germany right now. I think they're both in a similar sort of position actually, where they've both got world class players and they're both probably spluttering a little bit in their performances. I just think at some point you kind of get over the hoodoo that Germany have over you, and I think this is the best time for that. This feels like the end of an era for the Germany side and probably the start of an era for the England side. So they're essentially just crossing on the stairs right now, and I think England do finally get one over on Germany and progress.
Yeah,
it's just a story for me.
You've taken the words out of my mouth from that side. I was going to say nearly the same thing, and I think Germany just look like a side that has stumbled their way to this phase, and England are still not playing anywhere near as good as we should. We're playing probably 30%, 40% as good as we can at the moment. So at top gear, if England actually play to their best, it'll be. I don't even think it'll go to extra time.
Agreed. Let's say that England go through there and play Sweden then in the quarters. And Netherlands versus Czech Republic, no chance that Netherlands are not getting a result there. I haven't been that impressed with them. I don't think they're as good as people think, but they're much better than Czech Republic.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Personally,
cool.
Netherlands a good side.
Wales versus Denmark.
Come on, Wales. I've just got to get in there. What Wales? They're my second team in this.
Yeah, I
dad's
do,
Welsh,
I do want
so
Wales.
taking it.
I do want Wales to do well as well, even though I've got no connections.
Why?
But
My dad's Welsh. I love Wales. So.
My granddad's Welsh, and I hope they get absolutely thumped. They
Nice.
They love it when they beat us. They absolutely love it. What is this? Do you know how condescending it is to Welsh fans to go, "Oh, I hope you do well."
I like them for one. They're a good side. They're a fun side, and they generally. I mean, they're just not. I'm English, but I literally like the Welsh side more than the English side in terms of likability. So just how it is. But they're also good. They're a good side, and genuinely, I would not feel confident if England faced them. I'm not just saying that, but I think they're a very knockout team, knockout tournament kind of team. Like they are. They've just got a lot of. They know who they are. They know their own strengths and weaknesses, and they've got a lot of energy. And I think they're beating Denmark personally for what it's worth. I really do. Bale absolutely loves playing for his country. He absolutely does, and Ramsey's the same. And they're not a great side, but they're a good side and they're a functional side. And those kind of sides do well in these kind of competitions.
All right. So what were you saying? Wales or Denmark to go through? I think Denmark. Stephen thinks Wales. Saying Wales as well.
I thought Denmark, but. I'll go with the other two lads, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of truth in what Steve said there. I think a team that's more than the sum of its parts, which is not very often said in like these big competitions.
They play good football as well.
Yeah,
chances they created. They do genuinely play good football. I think we're a little bit down because we're English and whatever, but the football is good. Like they create so many chances, and even got Dan James out here actually one of creating more chances more than anyone in the tournament, which is crazy. And he's Dan James, and he's doing that, and that's because once again they just know who they are, and that I really think that matters at these kind of tournaments. I mean, you've got a team, and you know your weaknesses, and you know your strengths, and you know no one really expects you to do really well. And but they look where they are. I mean, no one's surprised these days if Wales win a game. Like no one genuinely is, and that's and you think about what they've got in terms of the squad compared to other sides, and you're like, yeah, Wales won, and it's not really a shock because they consistently do this these days, and they consistently surprise people, and they're a good side, and they've got a couple of genuinely top quality players, and you know that Flav as well, being obviously Spurs fan. Like, you know how good Bale can be in those moments, and he clearly absolutely loves his country in a way that you feel like he loves his country in a way that some players more than some players love their own. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because playing for Wales feels like a release for him, or it's the place where he feels truly loved, given he's not really felt loved at Real Madrid in that same way. And I don't know, those little things can be a big thing in these kind of tournaments for me, so that's why.
Probably because he only has to play 3 games a season for Wales, and that's probably why he loves it so much. Netherlands and actually, let's go to Ukraine, Sweden rather than England in the next round. Akeem, as tough as that game would be, is there any chance that England don't go through?
No, England. If England beat Germany, I think it's this is a game that I know that the Finland drama from years ago. Iceland from years ago. When everyone laughed and almost already plotted their way through the tournament before that game and completely disrespected Iceland. I don't think anyone should do that with Sweden. Like what we said, they're great. They're a very good side, but England, they'll be too much for Sweden. But this is as long as England start playing their best players and start actually playing to their potential, which at the moment they're not. If they play as good as they're playing in the group stage, games against Sweden might even be difficult. It might even go to penalties. Who knows?
But we all predicted that England would get through this semi-final in any case, quarter-final in any case. So let's push England through then. Netherlands versus Wales. As much as you've just given that lovely speech about Wales,
it's going to be closer than you think. Closer than you think, honestly. But I still think, obviously, you go for Netherlands. But I think it will be closer than you realise.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think, I didn't really hand it to... I did think Wales was kind of more plucky before that Italy game, but I was really impressed when they went down to 10 men and they, the amount of chances that Italy were creating and the way that they managed to withstand that pressure, which Netherlands will definitely bring to Wales every couple of minutes with the speed of their attacks. I think Wales, the way they defend as a team, they could pull off an upset, but I would say Netherlands would be the team that would go through, But, Wales for their heart and the way that they defend as a team, anything could happen. So,
yeah, I think they'll be gallant, but they will foul hilariously.
You really don't like them, do you?
I'm just not on with the whole kind of we live near them, therefore we should support them. So
that's not why I'm doing it. It's because my dad is literally Welsh. Like that's not because it's not like my great granddad was. It's my dad. I spent most of my childhood in Wales. I
don't know what to say.
Wait, hold on, Flav. If England go out, you're not going to celebrate. You're not going to support Wales for the rest of the tournament.
No, I'm just going to stop watching the competition altogether.
See, that's how you're supposed to do it, by the way. Flav's got it right. Just that's my team that I support. I don't.
Yeah, but as you said, it's international football. Like this is like I don't love England as much as I love Man City. Put it that way. I think we'd all agree on that in terms of these levels. But
I might have it on while I'm doing a barbecue, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So we've got a semi-final then of England versus Netherlands.
Yeah.
At this stage, you'd have to back England. No. Because we've never done it before, and law of averages, would say that one day we're going to get over the line. I know we did it in 66.
Do you know what? Foden's going to score a goal. exactly like the one Gaza just missed at the back post, where he's going to be roll across it, and he's going to put against Germany. He's going to do that. He's going to go in, and actually there'll be parallels drawn to that, and he'll run off with his blonde hair and all that kind of stuff. He's like, it's what should have happened, and then we'll go through to the final.
Well, think about that. In '96, we weren't actually that great. I know if you look back at some of these games, we weren't.
You don't have to be, do you? You don't have to be.
We were
No,
lucky.
but, listen, Flav, this is when the party stops at this game. And the lights come on. And
Get your barbecue on, Flav.
The worst feeling in the world, isn't it?
Netherlands are going to be too much for England, unfortunately, and this is where it stops. 2 semi-finals in 2 major competitions.
I think England trounced Holland, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think they're that good, Netherlands.
I think they are exciting. They've got goals, they've got pace, they've got the ability to steamroll the sides. But they've also got that sort of, there's a weakness there that comes with that. I don't think under the bird they've got quite the tactical acumen. I don't think they're going to play as patiently. I think if they come at England, the parallels I would draw is that, like, we've all seen our sides at some point in the league struggle against teams that sit back. And you almost pray for a side that's going to come at you. And I think England are waiting for that side that's going to come at them. And having sort of got through Germany and made it difficult probably against Sweden, they then come up against the side that's full of form but confident to go at them. And I think that's when you see the real England side, because I think naturally they're probably a really great counter-attacking side because they've got the players that do this on a regular basis. So I just think that this one's the easiest game for England in the entire tournament, and I'd even go as far as say I'll take 4-1 again.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. I think we're going through as well for exactly the same reasons, although I've just thought of it like that and now I can believe it completely. So thanks for that, Pajak. It's made full of confidence. And Stephen, I presume you're putting England through as well.
Yeah.
So that's 3-1. Sorry, Akeem. As much as you seem more dismayed the fact that we've gone against you than your country's.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I want England to go through. I just think this is going to be, when the party stops.
And then we have a final of Italy versus England, a game that I absolutely would. I mean, I need us to be there. You have to be in there, but it would be a horrendous 90 minutes.
Oh, it's horrible. That. It's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, as a man who's just...
do you know what? I think if England make it all the way to the final, look where it is. Football is at home. Literally, England will win. If England make it to the final, they're going to win somehow.
Wembley,
it's not going to be
60,000 fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. You disagree, Pajak?
I think Italy are the better side. I just do. It would be nice to see loads and loads of people in this country be dead happy. But that doesn't.
I like the way that he didn't include himself being dead happy.
Where I stand on it. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. It's like, it's just one of those things. But I don't begrudge anyone else their happiness. I don't begrudge anyone else supporting England. I want you to feel that, like, if you know what I mean. If that makes you all happy, that's great. But I just don't think because I want that to happen that it's going to happen. I can't see that. I just think Italy are a better side.
When Liverpool won the league, I was happy that Pajak was happy. But no, you weren't. Genuinely didn't. I text Pajak and said, congratulations, I hope you have a good time. Yeah,
you didn't after the Champions League final though, did you, Flav?
That's a bridge too far. You're asking too much. I'm not that much of a well-rounded human being. Okay, so any more?
It's Italy for me, unfortunately.
Italy as well.
Just think they're better side.
You guys think England have got even where it is? Really?
Yes, that's why. That is literally why. Football does these horrible stories, and given the year we've all had in this country and so on, I feel like we'd get there and we'll be like, we're gonna grab defeat from the jaws of victory, and that's what we'll do. And I don't trust us. And I feel like I've earned that lack of trust as well, given what we've witnessed in this country. And unfortunately, but I think everyone will be happy with it, by the way, as long as you don't get spanked. I think everyone will be like, we did ourselves proud.
Really? You think so? No, I think it's the hope that kills you. Getting all the way to the final and losing is, come on, at home. No,
we all know. Well, this is one thing we can share on a club level, is that we've all got to really big finals and lost. Just Spurs are the only ones that haven't won any of them. So that's why I'm really hoping that England get through. So I think that's 2-2. And do you know what? I think what a good way to end this would be to let us know in the comments below and in the poll on the community tab, who will win that fantasy final that we've come up with? Italy versus England. Whoever you guys decide will go along with you. Boys, thank you so much for spending the last 25 minutes or so talking through this bracket. I'm quite excited. I'm really optimistic about how much you guys have been behind England. I was surprised by that. I thought I was the only one banging that drum. But yeah, we'll see. It's looking to be a great tournament.